I'm looking for it. You can
Now we are live now. So
see if I get it.
don't talk. You just do whatever you gotta do there. I'll talk to you. Let me share it.
Talk about Abraham, who they can talk about you. And I had to explain it. And I had to justify. And I had to convince you. Please
I hope my internet doesn't screw up.
You're good. Just don't say anything. Just watch. I'm sharing it with you right now. Relax.
anything they say about me. Please believe it. Believe it. If nobody talks about you, you are nobody. If nobody chewing your boom, you are nobody. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. Hey. Yeah.
You turn off your video.
It was gonna be.
You turn the video off. You gotta turn it back on.
Swab on the beat.
If nobody talks about you, you are nobody. If nobody chewing your bone, you are nobody. They will know everything about you more than you know yourself. Yeah. They will talk, just to bring you down. They will spread all your bad news more than they spread your good news. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. Oh, see, let them do their talking again. See, I will do the bluffing, yeah. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it.
What happened?
You do your video as well.
No, for some reason, it kept malfunctioning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're good. It's good.
Okay, I was looking. I'm like, what?
You seen the link now?
Okay, let me see.
I just sent to you.
Okay, that's the link. You want me to click that link? That's in my phone. That's in my cell phone.
Don't never do anything. Just for you to see. Unless you want to share something with somebody on your phone, that's fine. You can take your phone if you want.
Yeah. No, okay, I can.
You can take your phone and use it, but don't. Yeah, take your phone and use it while you're turning it. That's fine. People are already watching, but they're not seeing you. So, folks, please go ahead and share the show, everybody. It looks like your internet is kind of slow. Please go ahead and share the show, everybody. This is Dr. Almami Dukla going to be with us today. So go ahead and share the show. All right. Share the show, everybody. Share the show.
Chewing your boom, you are nobody. Believe it, believe it.
If you haven't shared the show, go ahead and do so, please.
Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it.
We are having some technical problems in bringing the guest on. We're gonna get him real quick. Go ahead and share the show first, everybody, please. The guest, we are having some issue on his Facebook. I mean, what you call it, on his internet. But we should be good.
D12 on the beat.
If nobody talks about you,
Please share the show, everybody.
nobody, nobody. If nobody chewing your bone, you are nobody, nobody. They will know everything about you more than you know yourself. Yeah. They will talk, they will talk, they will talk. Just
Still
to
bring
bring
you
you down.
Share the show, people. Share the show, please.
Spread all your bad news more than they spread your good news. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. Oh, let them do their talking.
Share the show, everybody. Share the show.
I will do the bluffing, yeah, yeah. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. If nobody talks about you,
All right.
you are nobody. Nobody. If nobody chewing your boom, you are nobody. Nobody. If you like it, you can hire your own there just to make it juicy. Juicy. If you like, you can pour your own there just to make it spicy. Spicy. I know you like the cheese and you like the fries too. The fries too. Sugar in the tea, cocoa in the coffee, anything you want to say. If they can talk about Jesus Christ, they can talk about Moses. They can talk about Abraham. Who they can talk about? Yeah. Tell me. See, and I had to
Please go ahead and share the show first.
and I had to justify. And I had to convince you. Please believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it.
Go ahead and share the show, please. We are waiting for the guests to come, and then we will be starting the show right away. So go ahead and share the show, everybody, please.
If nobody talks about you, you are nobody. Nobody.
Share the show, everybody, please.
Chewing your boom, you are nobody. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. Hey. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, it was banana.
D12 on the beat.
If nobody talks about you, you are nobody. Nobody. If nobody chewing your bone, you
we were having some difficulty with the guest internet system. So we were having difficulty with the guest internet system. So hopefully everything is okay now. And then we will be coming on very soon. All right. Please go ahead and share the show. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so let's see if we can go back to the show now. Just a second.
Okay. I don't know what has happened to this.
It's okay.
I hope it doesn't act like that again. It's been raining heavily here, so.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. You stay now.
Mhm.
I'm not still seeing you here.
D12 on the beat.
Okay. All right. Okay, then you can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
All right. So we are live, folks. We want to apologize for the technical problem. Today we have Dr. Almami Dukley. I'm gonna go ahead and mute the music for now, so we can get into the show right away. All right. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the SKTV coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. Today we have the privilege with us to have Dr. Almami Dukley from Texas, Texarkana to be specific. Dr. Almami, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you very
All right.
well.
Welcome to the SKTV.
Thank you very much for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Even though it was on short notice, we appreciate you coming on. Can you briefly tell us who is Dr. Almami Dukley to our audience?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kane. I truly appreciate you welcoming me on your show today. Truly appreciate it. It is very, very important that we take every opportunity, to educate our people about what is going on, especially with regard to this coronavirus. So I really appreciate you calling me here today. Thank you very much. So my name is Almami Dukley, born and raised in Liberia, born in Kianfo, pretty much, to be specific. I've been in the United States for about 21 years. So when I came here, I went to high school here, and I graduated valedictorian actually from my high school. And then I got an opportunity to go to the University of Minnesota. I was actually trying to study something like economics or political science or international relations, the typical course of study we really like back home. But during the time I was at the University of Minnesota, it was 2001. That's when 9/11 happened, when the terrorist attack happened in New York City. So there was an economic downturn, and then I started rethinking my course of life. I was like, okay, it was not a good idea at that time to study economics. I decided to start looking into the science courses. Okay, and then I took some biology classes. They were very difficult, but and then the most interesting part was I took a seminar class. A seminar, where a lot of doctors in different areas of sciences came and talk about their research. Some talk about molecular biology, some talk about cellular biology, Some talk about nicotine receptors and stuff like that. I became very interested in biochemistry at that point. Uh, they thought that when the sun hits your skin, can cause a signal transduction in your body and lead to something in your body. When you smoke cigarette, the nicotine from the cigarette is bound to a nicotine receptor in the body. It became really interesting to me. I went home that day. I couldn't believe there's something like that. People are able to study things like that. So I decided to major in biochemistry from that point on. So I studied biochemistry at the University of Minnesota for about 4.5 years. Okay, and during my second year of the second years of my study at the university, I was able to take part in a big research. The research is called mTOR regulated Blue4 translocation. That really opened my eyes to the whole idea of molecular biology. Okay, so I graduated 2006 from the University of Minnesota with my degree in biochemistry, and then upon graduation, I worked for a chemical company in Minnesota called Cargill. I worked for Cargill for about a year. Making nutrition for children, sport drinks, mixing different type of proteins, and I used to make about 20 different type of different type of prototypes. Then I shipped them to China every Friday. Okay, all right. And then after I did that for a year, I got a job at the Wisconsin Department of Justice as a forensic scientist. I worked there for about a year working on the DNA analysis for a year at the Wisconsin Department of Justice. Then one day I got another job with Roche. The Roche we've been talking about this coronavirus. They are developing test equipment and stuff. So I worked for Roche about 3.5 years in making DNA macroarrays, doing comparative genomic hybridization and stuff like that. And then after I worked there for 3.5 years before I moved to Boston to study to pursue my doctorate in pharmacy. So I graduated 2014 with my doctorate, and since then I've been here in Texas. I've been a pharmacy manager here, working for Walmart for 5 years now. That's pretty much in a nutshell. I have 3 kids, 2 girls, 1 boy, that are driving me crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you very much for that very much rich background. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Since today we are going to be discussing the coronavirus.
Hmm.
Folks, I hope you can hear our guests very loud and clear. But if I may ask you, Dr. Dukley, what is coronavirus? Can you just give a background? What is coronavirus before we can get to the preventive measures as it relates to the coronavirus? What is the coronavirus?
Exactly. So before we actually talk about coronavirus, we have to know what is a virus in the first place, right? Because when you say corona, you are pretty much describing the structure of the virus. So that's the very little about the virus. That's just the structure. You have a Honda. What's the structure of your Honda? You have a different type of clothes. What are the designs? So corona just describing its structure. So we're gonna talk about what is a virus, okay? So a virus is a very tiny, okay, a very tiny macroscopic agent, okay? You see, when I say macroscopic agent, I didn't say organism because it is not an organism. It's an agent, okay? That only can survive when it is, in a cell of a living organism. That's the only way it survives. So that's pretty much a virus. Okay, an agent, okay, macroscopic agent, is very, very small. So imagine the smallest bacteria out there is bigger than a virus. That's how small a virus is. So it cannot survive on its own. It has to be in a cell of a living organism. And sometimes when I say a cell, I want people to understand what a cell is. Okay, a cell is the building block of the body. Okay. Our body is built out of trillions of cells, okay? So when you're building a house, what do? You need bricks upon bricks, thousands of bricks, right, to build a house. So our body is built out of cells. So the cell is the block of the body, okay? So you can take that single cell, each of that cell, and study it. Like you can take each block out of a building. So you can take a single cell and study it. So that's where a virus comes at life. They enter the cell, then they start to replicate. They start to reproduce. So that's why a virus is a tiny microscopic agent. That cannot survive on its own except in a cell of a living organism. Okay?
Okay. So that's the. So now we hear people talking about some call it nouveau coronavirus. When they say
Yeah.
nouveau, so why they added that nouveau on the nouveau mean new? So
Okay.
does that mean we have another coronavirus before this one, or another virus before this
Exactly.
one?
Exactly. Coronavirus were discovered. They've been around forever. Okay, but they were really discovered in the 1960s. Okay, so they come in different structure. Okay, pretty much the structure of there's different coronavirus too, and they are just that corona is describing it because of the shape, crown-like structure. That's all it's saying about the virus. Okay, but they've been around forever. It's
Okay.
it's novel. It's novel because of the way. The DNA is different from the other ones. Okay, the DNA sequence of this coronavirus is different from. We had the SARS virus in 2000, 2000 I think 2002, 2000 to 2004. Okay, we had the SARS virus. You also have the Middle East, the one they call MERS, the Middle East respiratory syndrome virus too. That's there too. They are all coronaviruses. But what makes them different is the DNA sequence. Okay, so the DNA sequence in this virus is different from the DNA sequence on those the other viruses. That's why it's novel. That's why it's new because it's different from those other viruses. Even though they have the same structure, but the DNA sequence is different. Okay, yeah. So one thing I want to highlight too, like I said, when the virus is not in an infected cell, okay, is dormant. That means it has no life in it. It just like a grain of sand, it has no life. Okay, but when the virus, but at that in that state, okay, in that state of dormant where it is like on your table, on your doorknob, it has no life. Okay, but what does it have? It has a DNA. Okay, it still has a DNA in it. Okay, that DNA, whenever it enters another cell, is able to start replicating. So, and how does it do that? Okay, so when the virus, for you and I, our cells, what our cells go to, is called cell division. The cell can split the DNA, okay, the chromosome into two, and then split into two cells. Viruses too, bacteria too can do the same thing. It's called budding. They split their DNA and then they split into two cells, okay. But for
Okay.
viruses, this is where viruses are different. When they do not reproduce naturally, they have no cellular structure, okay. When the virus enter the body, so what they do, the virus will take the viral DNA, okay, it will take the viral DNA and insert it into the human DNA. That's what the virus does. They bound to the receptor on the cell, they bound to the cell, then the viral DNA goes into the human DNA, or any organism for that matter, enter the DNA of that organism, and then the virus put its DNA between the human DNA. So whenever your cell is producing, your DNA is replicated, that's a viral DNA being replicated. When a virus, when the RNA is being translated into protein, that's the viral protein being produced. So the virus pretty much take over your reproductive system. Okay, your cell machinery, your cell ability to produce is controlled by the virus. So every protein that is made in that body is being made by that cell is being made is the viral protein. So that's how it is. They enter the cell, they take their DNA, they insert that into the human DNA. So whenever the human DNA is being replicated, translated, and the protein is produced, that's the virus protein being produced. Even the HIV virus, that's how they work. Okay.
So
So
how do we, as a human being, how do we contract the virus?
okay.
How easy is it to contract the coronavirus?
Yeah. So that's transmission. Virus can be transmitted in different ways. Okay. Like let's think of the Ebola. The Ebola virus, for example. That people. It was that was not airborne. Yet when you have to come in contact with the bodily fluid of the person that was infected. And usually people have diarrhea and other condition. And when you come, the person's saliva and stuff like that. So that was not airborne. Okay, but there are different way of transmission. A virus can be transmitted by a vector. Okay, an organism that take an infection from one organism to another. The like example is the mosquito with malaria. Okay, mosquito can suck on the blood of a malaria infected person, take the plasmodium and then infect another person with it. That's a vector. Okay, okay. And then another way of transmission is also, especially specific to the coronavirus, is you can get it from macro droplets. Somebody, when a person sneezes, okay, when a person sneezes or cough, okay, and they cough into their hand and stuff, and they shake another person's hand, you can get it from that. Because if you don't wash your hand, you put your hand around your nose, in your mouth, around your eyes, then you can get the virus transmitted into yourself. Okay.
So does that
So
mean coronavirus is an airborne disease or what?
it's airborne. Yeah, it's a respiratory disease. Okay, it's a respiratory infection. So actually, there has been several studies done by the National Institute of Health, by the CDC, and they found that when someone who is infected with the coronavirus, when he or she sneezes in a closed environment like this, okay, the virus can stay in the air for about 3 hours. Okay, so even if that person leaves, sneezes and leaves, about coughing this enclosed environment and leaves, and you come in 2 hours later, there's a possibility that you're gonna inhale the virus. Okay, there's a possibility that you will get infected. Okay, so when even some people are suspecting that even outside when somebody sneezes outside, it can stay in the air for a very long time. So it's an airborne disease, and you can get it through touching somebody. When a person touches the doorknob and you come and touch that doorknob, you're gonna have it on your hand. Okay, when the person shake your hands, and the person can transfer the virus onto your hands. Okay, and also you on the bus, on the bus going to work, and somebody infected with a coronavirus sneezes or cough in the bus, the macro droplet gonna airborne, gonna be in the air, and everybody in the bus, in the bus at that time, gonna be at risk, because as you continue to breathe, you're gonna be breathing the virus in. So it is an airborne disease.
Okay. So how do we prevent coronavirus?
Exactly. So a lot of the preventative measure, already started in China. For us in the United States, we kind of downplay a little bit. We didn't catch up really quickly, and most of the prevention method that was put in place were put in place very late. Okay. So what do we do? The most important aspect is washing your hand, making sure you wash your hand for at least 20 seconds with soap and water, and then with a hand sanitizer. Okay, that's the number one thing. You got to make sure you wash your hand constantly. And the reason we say wash your hand, it's not like people say that without reasoning behind. Okay, so you can actually test this in a laboratory environment. Okay, so this is how you test it. You enter the laboratory in the morning with your hand dirty. You did not wash your hand at all. You can take a swab of your hand. You take a swab. That's what we do when we try to study something in the lab. You take a swab of your hand, and we make like 4 different plates. We put these plates have gel in them with nutrients that these viruses and bacteria like. Okay, the environment it can grow. So you strike your hand, your dirty hand, and then strike the first plate. Okay, and put a number on it, plate number 1. Then you put that in an incubator. Okay, an incubator is an environment that is suitable for bacteria and virus growth. Okay, and then the second thing, you wash your hand with just water. Okay, after you wash your hand with water, come again and strike your hand. Okay, swab your hand and then strike another second plate. Okay, then you pour that plate again in an incubator. Then the third time now, you wash your hand with soap and water. Wash your hand soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Then come back again. Swab your hand, okay, and then strike another plate number 3, and put it in an incubator. And then the fourth one is that you wash your hand with soap and water. Then you use a hand sanitizer, okay. Then you strike your hand again. Swab your hand, strike a plate, and then put it in an incubator, okay. Let it stay there for 3 days. When you come 3 days later, you take these plates out. You look at the first plate where your hand was not washed, okay? When you didn't wash your hand, you look at the plate, you're gonna see a lot of bacterial growth on it. A lot of bacterial growth on it because you didn't wash your hand. The second plate where you wash your hand with just water, simple water, you're gonna see a lot of bacterial growth on that plate again, okay? Because when you just wash your hand with pure water, you didn't get, most of the bacteria out of your hand. Then you look at the plate you use soap and water, you're gonna see most of the bacteria are gone. Yeah, when you use soap and water, okay? But then when you use soap, water, and hand sanitizer, that's when you see at least 99.99% of the bacteria is eliminated for your hand. So that's why we recommend that you wash your hand.
So is it true that we have uh, good virus and bad, I mean, good bacteria and bad bacteria in our bodies?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
what is the difference?
Okay, very good. So there's a relation between us and bacteria. We have bacteria in our stomach right now. We having a symbiotic relation with them, mutualistic. We benefit from them, they benefit from us. They are called E. coli. Okay, the E. coli are in our body. You know what they do? They help us digest the food we eat. And then what we do for them, we provide the environment for them where they can live and grow. The inside of our stomach is suitable for their growth. So we providing that environment for them. They help us digest our food. Okay, those are the good bacteria. Okay, but then there are bad bacteria. Even those good bacteria, if it is there has to be a balance. When they become too much overgrowth of the bacteria because of sickness, then they become infectious. Then you need to take medication to start to fight them off. We have bad bacteria too that can cause urinary tract infections. You know, they cause respiratory tract infections. You know, mainly the streptococcus. These bacteria, most of them when we get infected with, they are called streptococcus. They cause respiratory infection. Even the flu virus too can cause respiratory infection and cause pneumonia. So that's the example of good bacteria in our stomach. They help digest our food for us, and we provide a very good environment for them to grow.
Okay,
Okay.
so assuming that you have a virus on your hand, you contracted a virus from somebody, touches something, and you go and touch that. Now you have the virus in your hand, on your hand. Can this virus affect you without entering your stomach?
No, if you wash your hand, you get rid of it, right? That's why we said the first step. The first step there is to wash your hand. You wash your hand for at least 20 seconds with soap and water. Because soap and water, if you have hand sanitizer, use it. If you don't have hand sanitizer, you have alcohol, use the alcohol. You know, so that's why if you don't put your hand in your mouth, by your nose, in your eyes, they're not going to infect you. If you don't have any cut in your hands, because if you have a cut on your skin, viruses and bacteria can penetrate through that too. But if it's just in your hand, you wash it, that you get rid of it. That's what we said. That's the number one step. You wash your hand. Okay, that's the number one preventative measure. Okay. Number two, what do? You stay away from gathering, large gathering. You know, because you don't know who you're gonna meet. Okay, you don't know who's in that crowd. They might have, come in contact with somebody who has a virus. Okay, and they may be, asymptomatic. Sometimes there are people called a pre-symptomatic. They have the virus, but they are showing no symptom at all, and they can transmit the virus. Okay.
Okay.
So that's why that will be the second step. Stay away from large crowd. Stay away from shaking hands. Stay away from all the big dance and stuff right now until this thing is put under control. Okay. So that's the number two. That's the number two step there. And another step will be when you're going out in public area, like grocery stores and stuff like that, you wear a mask, okay? Because the bacteria is airborne. It's airborne. So if you don't have a mask, if somebody sneezes, somebody who has the virus sneezes, you're gonna get infected. So you wear a mask, you know, and make sure you understand how to wear a mask, okay? And when you wear a mask, make sure you're not touching the face of the mask, okay? People try to adjust it, they hold it like that, they try to adjust the mask, okay? The thing is that if somebody is infected, a person sneezes, the virus is going to be on the face of the mask, okay? So you don't have to touch that again. You don't touch that and then put your hand back in your face or touch other people because you're taking the virus right there on your hand. Okay. So some recommend wearing a glove. I don't recommend a glove at all. Okay. I think most people will not recommend a glove. Why? Because when we use a glove in a laboratory, when I'm giving immunization to people, you change the glove. You give shot to somebody, you change the glove right away. Even on a couple, on one family from the same household, everybody you have to use one glove on each person. You don't use the same glove on everybody. So what people do, they wear the same glove and go around all over the place. They're touching in a grocery store. They're touching the cart with that glove. The glove, food they put in the bucket. That one glove is being used to do everything. You transfer viruses from one place to another with that one glove. So that's why it's not good to wear gloves. The only way you can use a glove, you're going to change it right away. You touch one thing, throw it out, and take another one, and that's not possible.
Okay. One of our audience just asked a question. Even though we're going to be giving the people the opportunity to call in and ask their question, but somebody just posted their question. Fanta Kane, she's asking us, she's asking you, how long does it take for the virus to affect you? Like say, if you contracted the virus, how long does it take before the virus can really attack you, affect you?
Okay, so that's what we call the incubation period. Okay, how long it takes the virus to start showing symptoms? That's the incubation period. We say from 2 to 14 days. That's why the 2 to 14 days quarantine is about. Okay, so that's when you take the virus when the virus gets in your system, it has to enter your cell. Okay, it enter the cell, and you set the virus take its DNA and insert it into the hemodNA, and then usually in the respiratory tract. Okay, then it start reproducing. There's one virus, two viruses, three viruses. You're not feeling symptoms. Then when you start producing, you start having lots of virus in your body now. Then your immune system start fighting it. Because the immune system realizes that there's a foreign agent in your body. Your immune system start fighting it. That's when your temperature goes up. Okay, that's when that will probably be, if you really have it, that will be the 2, 3, 4, 5. You start having fever. Your body temperature goes up because it's in your respiratory tract. The mucus cells in your respiratory tract are kind of inflamed now. You start sneezing. Okay, that's why those are the two most important symptoms on presentation. When people present to the hospital, those are the two most important ones. It's what? Fever. They have fever. Okay, and they're coughing a lot. So it takes about 2 to 14 days before you start seeing symptoms. Okay, but the thing is that it's hard to distinguish the symptom of the coronavirus infection from flu infection or the cold virus. Okay, it's hard. You can't tell. You have to be tested. One of the major difference is the shortness of breath. You start having difficulty breathing, which can lead to pneumonia later. Okay, so that's a major difference. But I mean, it will take about 2 to 14 days before you start seeing symptoms.
Okay, so I want to make a follow up on that.
Yeah.
Okay, assuming that someone contracted the virus for 14 days.
Yeah.
And then after 14 days, this person stay feeling okay.
Yeah.
Some people say some people are asymptomatic, which means some people they can contract the virus, but they will not be like they will not be feeling any symptom, right?
Yeah.
So after the 14 days, does that mean you're okay? If you're not, if it doesn't show any symptom?
Well, after 14, if you didn't get tested, then nobody knows whether you're sick or not. You're gonna be infecting a lot of people in that case. Okay, nobody knows if you're sick. And after 14 days, some people are gonna have a mild symptom. About 80% of the people, pretty much 80 to 85% of the people, gonna just have a simple flu-like symptom, and that's it. And they can just take over-the-counter medication and control that flu-like symptom. Cough syrup, nasal decongestants. Mucus expectorants and stuff like that. So that's possible. Somebody after 14 days, if you don't show any symptom, it's possible, but you're going to be infecting a lot of people.
Okay. We have another person. Just ask a question.
Yeah.
That's the Bateki Anita Luene. I'm sorry for mispronunciation for your name if I did. But the person is asking you, what is the relationship between the white red blood cells with the
Mhm.
coronavirus, with COVID-19.
Or the white blood cell.
Yeah, what is the
Well, you know,
relationship? The person is saying, what is the relationship between white
mhm.
red blood cells with COVID-19?
White red blood cell. No, red blood cell is different from white blood cell.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the person said, what is the relationship? So you kind
Okay.
of you kind of educate us on it.
Your red blood cell. That's the oxygen carrier in your body. So when you breathe in, okay, when I breathe in, I'm taking oxygen. Okay, what happens? The oxygen comes into my lungs. Okay, when the oxygen enters the lungs, then there's an interface between the lungs and the blood vessel. Okay, then the oxygen is bound to the red blood cell. Okay, each red blood cell takes about 4 oxygen molecules and transport it all over your body. Okay, so your red blood cell is an oxygen carrier. Okay, it's actually made out of a protein called hemoglobin. Okay, and iron, regular iron that we tell people to take iron when they have anemia, when they have low blood level. Yeah, so that's what the iron when the iron interact with the hemoglobin, that's what causes the blood to be red. Okay, that's the cause of the redness there. So the red blood cell is the oxygen carrier in your body. That's the major function of it. They also carry glucose. Some glucose molecule can bind to the red blood cell. That's why whenever somebody have diabetes A1C, that's why we use diabetes A1C to test people for diabetes, because I mean we are looking at the amount of glucose that's bound to the red blood cell. Okay, then your white blood cell, that's your immune system, that's your immune cell, that's your body defense against infection. Okay, so that's different from the red blood cell that's transporting oxygen. So whenever you get infected by the coronavirus, your body defense is right away to get the white blood cell, the T cells ready to come in and defend you against the infection. Okay, that's what leads to what we call inflammation, all the body ache and malice you feel in your body. That's because your body defense system is going for the agent, whatever agent that has entered your body. So that's the difference.
Okay, so let me ask you on a very critical aspect of this whole issue of coronavirus.
Yeah,
People talk about the
mm,
conspiracy theory aspect.
yeah, yeah.
Is this virus invented by somebody?
Mm.
Some people say China, some people say America. Is it possible that virus can be invented by somebody? And if so, is this
Mm.
coronavirus invented by somebody?
Okay, I mean, in this world, anything is possible. Okay, you can't say this cannot happen. You know, you're not able to do it, but somebody else is able to do it. So you can't say, I mean, this is impossible. But the thing about conspiracy theories, they don't have beginning and they have no end. You know, it's not possible for you to go and see the source and say, hey, this is where it happened. They will give you some sweet talks to convince you. But you have to be able to analyze the information, the data given to you. So then, I mean, to make sure you're able to validate the information given. So I do not have the data or the evidence to tell you that, yeah, this virus was invented. Okay, but what I can tell you, you can manipulate viruses in the laboratory and bacteria. You can manipulate bacteria in the laboratory so that it can work for you. Okay, how do you do that? You can change the DNA sequence of the virus and study the protein that the virus is producing. When we're making vaccinations, okay, the flu vaccines and stuff like that, we're using the virus, I mean, that's causing the flu. What we do, we weaken them. You change the DNA sequence so that you weaken them, okay? And then you weaken them, then that's the virus we put in the human body. Then your immune system recognizes them. Then your immune system make antibody for them, so that when you get reinfected, then your body is ready to with the real virus. When you get infected with the real virus, then you have antibodies in your body to fight the infection. Okay, so you can manipulate them in the laboratory. So, there are actually studies where they can manipulate the DNA sequence of a virus and then send them into the human body to fight cancer cells. Those are technology that's going on.
Okay.
Those drugs are called biologics. Okay, okay. So one example is bacteria too. Okay, let me give you one simple example for the way we manipulate viruses and bacteria to work for us. For those people with diabetes, if you have diabetes and your blood sugar is out of control, you know you have to inject insulin, right? Insulin, you have to inject insulin. I think everybody knows insulin. So insulin, how do we make insulin? That is very, very important. So I talked to you about E. coli today, a bacteria that are in our belly too, right? In our stomach that help us, digest our food for us. We can take the human insulin DNA, okay? You take the insulin DNA, then you take a bacteria. You take the bacterial plasmid, that's the bacterial DNA. You take the bacterial DNA and the human DNA, okay? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm hearing you.
Yeah. Okay, so you take the human DNA, you insert it into the bacterial DNA. Okay, you take the human insulin DNA, insert it into the bacterial DNA, and then you take that bacterial DNA back and put it into the bacteria. You put it in the fermentation tank, and that's how bacteria is making the insulin for us. That's the insulin people are injecting in them. So it's not like whenever we manipulate the DNA, a virus DNA or a bacterial DNA in the laboratory, it's not to just create a Frankenstein, it's not to create some kind of trouble.
Okay, so let me, okay. Somebody asked a very important question again. Okay, assuming that you contract the virus and did not go to hospital, and then it treats you just like common cold, maybe a common flu, and then you got cured, you are okay.
Yeah.
For example, can you be recontracted? Can this virus catch you back?
So one thing about this virus, because it's one strain right now. You can get the flu virus 2 times, right? Or more than once. You can get the flu, then later because you have you get like 4 different strains sometimes of the flu virus. If you get infected by the A strain, and then you recover from there, you think that then you go again and interact with people with flu, you can get the B strain again. But for this one, it's just one. It's just one coronavirus. So so when you get infected with it for the first time, the possibility of you getting reinfected is very, very slim because your body already have antibody for it. That's why they're actually using convalescent plasma right now from people who have recovered to treat people who are critically ill with the coronavirus right now. Your body going to develop a defense against it. So that's a possible treatment right now. They are researching. They're actually using it in some people already on a compassionate basis to treat them. So you getting reinfected gonna be really, really difficult because there's only one strain. There's not 2 strains. There's only one coronavirus strain. Right now. If there were 2, if you get infected with the coronavirus, you recover. There's a possibility you can get infected with the SARS virus. Okay, the one that was around in 2000. Because the DNA sequence are different. But getting reinfected again with the coronavirus, that has not been seen. There's no study there's no evidence to prove that.
Okay, Ali Sako is asking you, how safe is coronavirus vaccine? I'm not sure if there is any vaccine yet, but how safe is it? And is there any vaccine yet as it stands?
Well, that's the basis of clinical trial. That's the reason why there is no vaccine yet. Otherwise, there will be vaccine right now. The reason there is no vaccine yet, you have to determine the safety and the efficacy of a medication before you give it to people. Okay, that means it has to go through a clinical trial. In clinical trial, you get the preclinical trial aspect, then you get stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 clinical trial, which can take up to a year to 2 years. So I cannot tell you how safe it is if it is not there right now. But they are studying it. There are studies going on right now. In the United States here, I think they started with about 20 healthy people. They take the coronavirus. They take the coronavirus. They weaken the virus, okay, or kill the virus. Pretty much, it's weakened so that it doesn't cause infection. Okay, it doesn't cause infection. But so when you take that, you inject it into healthy people. What's gonna happen? Their system, their immune system gonna develop antibody against the virus. Okay, they're gonna develop antibody against the virus so that when somebody get infected, their body gonna be ready to defend them against the virus. And every medication gonna have side effects. Even when the drug comes, okay, when the vaccine is ready. When the vaccine is ready, it's not going to be 100% safe. Every drug have a side effect. The flu. Some people get the flu vaccine. They get like body aches and stuff like that. We have we have a shingle shot that protect you from the shingle infection. Some people take that, they can get really sick. Okay, so there are side effects, but the protection you get from it, that's the most important. So that next time when the virus infects you, when you get the injection, the immunization, it doesn't mean you can't get infected. It will give you protection, about 50 to 90% protection. Okay, but if you get infected, then your body is ready to defend you. Then the symptom is not as bad as it will be if you didn't have the shot.
Okay. So, folks, if you're just joining us, this is Dr. Almami Dukley, who is a pharmacist, who is also a pharmacy manager, if I'm correct,
Yeah.
in Texarkana. He works for Walmart Pharmacist. He is one of our friend and brother. I've been knowing him, from childhood. He's a friend and brother. We are very proud of his accomplishment. You know, the reason why we brought him here is that one of our own to come and give us his expertise, in the area, because all of us can talk about the coronavirus all we want, but those who are close with the authority to talk about it are those who have knowledge on it. That's the reason why we brought Dr. Almami Dukley here to come and educate us and explain to us what is coronavirus, and what are some of the preventive measures, and what we need to do. So Almami Dukley is a proud son of Liberia, from Kiamfo. Even though he's from a small town, he's from Kiamfo. Here now, we all were in Kiamfo, Lanco, and we also live in Guinea as refugees together and everything. So he's a brother and friend. Almami Dukley, Dr. Almami Dukley, somebody's asking which kind of blood that can fight or that is ready to fight the coronavirus by itself.
Blood type.
Yeah, the person said which kind of which of the blood kind.
Yeah.
I think there were the two blood kind, right? The white and the red. So which one?
No. I mean that's the blood cells, red blood cell, white blood cell. But they're talking about. B type A, B, and then AB and O type.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's no blood type. There's no evidence to show that the coronavirus does not attack a certain group of people because they have this blood type. I've not seen any evidence to that. So the best way to prevent it is to take those preventative measures. Washing your hands, wearing a mask, staying away from large crowds. Stuff like that. But to say you have a specific blood type, they're gonna prevent you from getting the coronavirus, or they're gonna maybe minimize the symptom of the coronavirus when you get it. There's no evidence of that. I have not seen that. No.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody just asked a question. One, I think this is Benjamin Jonah. He's saying that how would the healthcare provider know that? Okay, this is a 14-day period when they don't even know when you were infected.
Okay. Well, if you get infected, that's why you need to be tested, right? You have to be tested. If you feel like you're having a symptom, because you cannot distinguish the coronavirus symptom right away from the flu symptom or from the cold symptom. They are pretty much the same. You're gonna have the fever. You're gonna have the cough at the beginning. Those are the main symptoms. So you have to be tested. And when you start getting that kind of symptom, you need to stay away from other people. Stay away from them, and then call the authority or wherever testing. You can call. Don't just show up. That's the problem we're having right now. People get sick, they get scared, they run to us at the pharmacy, and they cough in our faces. They coughing. And I'm like, you should have called before you come here. Now you coughing. You're supposed to know what you have. I don't know what you have.
Can you go to the line?
Yeah.
You want to participate on the show? We're on the show. You want to participate on the show? I'm on the show right now. So go ahead and send me the message you gotta send me. Yeah, I'm on live right now. You are not live, but yeah, you have to call me later. I apologize, Dr. Almami. That was a very important call from Liberia, from Africa actually, okay. and then we got distracted by that. So
Yeah, so like I was saying, that's why you need to get tested. When you're tested, when you're positive, then they can tell you. I mean, the doctor will tell you to stay home, stay away from other people, depending what your symptom is. If your symptom is like it's not bad, like 80% of the people will be, then they can tell you to stay home and stay away from people, stay away from crowd, and give you the 14-day quarantine. But even after the 14 days, you have to be retested to see whether you have the virus. I think you get two other tests to confirm that you have cleared the virus before they can let you reunite with other people. So you have to be tested. If you're not tested, nobody's gonna know that you have the virus or not. A lot of people who call me, their symptoms, their symptoms were very mild, and I was able to give them over the counter medication, and most of them recovered. Over the counter medication to treat the symptoms, and most of them recovered.
Okay.
But what my advice to them was to stay away from everybody, keep themselves quarantined until they can fully recover. So
All right. Yeah, you just mentioned about over-the-counter medication. Somebody, one Mohammed KV Dukli, just asked a question. That the president talked about hydroxychloroquine. Has there been any trial for
yeah.
that medication? If so, was it successful?
Yeah, so our president is a wonderful man. So if you're not a doctor, if you haven't studied these things, you don't just use your gut feeling to create an indication for your drug. You don't use your gut feeling. The medication has to go through clinical trial to be proven as safe and effective before the FDA can approve it as an indication for that disease. We are able to use medication off-label based on clinical experience. I mean, it's not indicated for that condition, but based on clinical experience, doctors can use it to treat other conditions. That's called off-label. Okay, there has been a lot of clinical trial in France, in China, in different countries. They have tested hydroxychloroquine, or hydroxychloroquine. It's the same medication. Okay, we hear chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine. The only thing we're doing there, like I said this before, is the hydrazine. When you hear hydrazine, is a chemical molecule. Okay, we call it a functional group. Functional group, what it does, it make the chemical a little bit hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means that the medication will stay within the blood vessel. Okay, the chloroquine does not have that hydrazine group, so it's a little bit more lipophilic, which means it's a little bit more oily than the hydroxychloroquine. So because of that, it travels really far, into the tissues and stuff like that. That's why chloroquine can itch a lot. It itches the body a lot, but it travels all over the body. We call that large volume of distribution. They are large volume of distribution. With hydroxychloroquine, it can travel farther too. It has a little bit more. It has large volume of distribution, but not as large as the chloroquine. Okay, so it doesn't. You don't get that itching and stuff like that. So it's also. The hydroxychloroquine is also used for lupus. It does an autoimmune disease of the body where you see people face getting reddened in the red face. But it also is used to treat rheumatoid arthritis, people with joint condition, joint pains. Okay, so there was a study in France. The study was done on 36 people, very small sample size. The sample size it worked in some people. It didn't work in anybody, but it was very effective. I think after 6 days, some people cleared the virus altogether. Okay, but the sample size is so small. When you try to, use a drug like that to treat a condition, you have to test it in a large group. It has to be like thousands of people. The trial have to be what we call randomized control trial. Randomized, multi-center, blinded control trial. You do it in a lot of people, then you can apply that sample to a larger crowd, to an entire country or to the whole world. But just from 6 people, that's not a good sample size. You cannot apply that to a lot of people. But even now, it's being used to treat some people. It's not treating everybody. Okay, it's a good medication. It's working. This was not the first time to try it. Okay, it was the trial in 2000, 2003, 2002, 2003 on the SARS virus. Okay, the SARS virus. That came from China too. It was tried on that one. It worked in some people. It didn't work in everybody. That's the reason they decided to use it again right now. So it's not the first time it has been used.
Okay. So, folks, if you're just joining us, this is SKTV coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. Today, we are privileged to have with us Dr. Almami Dukli. We have gone 1 hour in the show. Like I promised you that we're going to do first 1 hour interaction, question and answer from me. Now that it's our turn that we give the opportunity to our audience to ask questions. So, folks, if you are watching, if you haven't shared the show, go ahead and share it. So not just you can benefit, so other people to who are our brothers and friends and family, they can also benefit. Um, we are going to start taking questions,
Yeah.
and
I
no,
wanted to say something about the coronavirus. Okay,
that's fine.
about the
That's
genetic.
fine. Let me just
Okay.
conclude this. What I'm
Okay.
saying. Then from there you will speak. Then after that, then we can start taking questions. That's fine. So, folks, right after Dr. Almami Dukle talk about the coronavirus issue that you just mentioned, we will give you the opportunity to call in and ask your question, your concern, whatever you want to know. He will be here to help us understand what is coronavirus and some of the preventive measures and what we need to do and what we need to know, as it relates to this particular virus. So, yeah, Dr. Dukle, you can go ahead and talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah, so as we were talking about treatment with the coronavirus with hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine, those are not antivirus. We have antivirus, we have antibacterial, but hydroxychloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, those are anti-malaria. We use them against the plasmodium. Plasmodium, that's a parasite. That's not a virus, not a bacteria. Okay, so the reason it's actually difficult to treat the coronavirus and other coronaviruses of the past. So for hemoglobin, we have DNA as our genetic material. Okay, we have DNA. DNA get replicated to RNA. Then RNA translated into protein. Okay, that's a straightforward process. So we have an enzyme in our body called DNA polymerase. Okay, so whenever it's replicating the DNA to RNA, whenever it makes a mistake, it can go back and correct the mistake, and then the RNA is made. RNA is translated into protein. Then, because of that correction process, we always get consistent results. The same protein is being produced all the time. Okay, for the coronavirus, it has RNA as a DNA material. It doesn't have a DNA as a genetic. It has RNA. So to make a protein, it has to take that RNA into DNA first. Okay, and then to DNA, then DNA to RNA, then RNA to protein. So it added another step to it. They are called RNA viruses. Okay, so in that process, to move from RNA to DNA, they are using this enzyme. That enzyme is called reverse transcriptase. Okay, so whenever the enzyme takes RNA to DNA, it makes mistakes, but it doesn't correct the mistake. Okay, because it doesn't have the ability to go back and do the correction. So every time a new RNA is converted to DNA, that DNA sequence is going to be different. Okay, so when the DNA sequence is different, that means the RNA sequence is going to be different. That means the protein that's going to be made is different. So you see, and the medication we made is usually made to target either the protein or the reverse transcriptase or the DNA. But mostly you're targeting the DNA sequence. But if the DNA sequence keeps changing every time RNA is made into DNA, then you have a different product every time. Then you have to use different medication every time. Same thing with HIV. That's why we tell HIV patients, take your medication all the time, because the medication is either targeting the reverse transcriptase or it's targeting the protein. If you start taking your medication, the sequence of the DNA going to change. The protein going to change. That means you have to take a different medication altogether again. So that's the problem. That's why it's difficult to treat this kind of virus, because they have RNA as their genetic material, using reverse transcriptase to make DNA, and then DNA to RNA to protein. Okay. I wanted to make that clear.
Okay, so yeah,
Mm.
so folks, what we're going to do here, we're going to be taking uh, two, three at most, three questions at a time. So you can have your pen ready just in case if you need to write something down. So
Yeah.
that way people will call in and they will ask the questions. So that way if we can take one or two together or three at max, then that you can have time to talk about them. I guess we're gonna have about, if you allow us to go more than that, that's fine. But right now we're gonna have about another more hours here.
Yeah.
where we'll be taking question and answer, and at the same time, we'll be making some clarifications.
Mhm.
If we exceed the 2 hour mark, that will be at your approval if you decide to be here. If you agree to be here more than that, but I think 2 hour will be okay. We should be able to cover a lot.
An extra $10,000 I can stay.
Okay, no problem. No problem. So, okay, we have a call already on the line. So, caller your name and where you calling from.
Yeah, Brother Sego, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Duple. My name is Bud Dino. I'm calling from Cedar Rapids in Iowa. Thank you very much for the education. My question to you is this. Since we have not had any correct vaccine to treat this coronavirus, what
Okay.
can we, as an African, that are listening on this Seku show, is there any way that since the lamb, let me use the word lamb, you know what I'm talking about, that we can bring back home, or garlic and bitter cola help to prevent this coronavirus? That's my question, sir.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we'll be taking one question per person.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
people,
so
when you call in and when somebody is on the line, I'm not going to click over because the person is going to have that few seconds, maybe 30 seconds to ask their question. So, if you have any question, go ahead and call. There are a lot of calls coming in at the same time. So, let's take two more calls. So that way we can overburden you with calls. So, yeah, okay, another call coming in. Yeah, so caller your name and where you calling from. And what is your question for Dr. Dukley?
Hello, my name is, hello?
Yeah, you are live.
Oh, good. Yeah, hello, my name is Saracen, and I'm calling from North Carolina. I know that, to Dr. Dukley, I know that the users of cell phones transmit some form of radiation, very minor radiation, and the science is not very definite on radiation that is emitted by some cell phone, whether it is destructive to DNA or not. The science is not very definite. But when it comes to 5G, what does the doctor know about 5G being responsible for the coronavirus 19? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And one more call, then you answer the three questions. Caller your name and where you calling from. 763 number.
Hello, Sekou.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. This is Elijah from Minnesota.
Elijah from Minnesota.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I want to say thanks. Yeah, I want to say thanks to Dr. Dukley, and I hope our health minister could break this stuff down the way Dr. Dukley did. And my question to Dr. Dukley is that if one encounter a coronavirus before and get killed, can they encounter it again? And my second question has to do with for those of us that love pet animal, can the virus can a pet or like dog or or cat or something encounter the virus also? That's my question. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. I think we got three
Thank you very
questions.
much. Yeah.
So you can go ahead and answer all those three questions.
So the first question about garlic, lime or lemon or
Hold on one second. It looks, I don't know, something is not looking right to me.
okay.
It looks like we are having some connectivity problem. Hold on, just give me a few seconds.
Okay.
I think it looks like we are getting this. Can you hear me? Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. Hmm. All right, let's see here. So let's see here if we can go back, can get back to. Hope we are back. Hope we are not disconnected. Okay, so we got disconnected. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we for some reason we went off. My internet was, I don't know what happened actually. So you mind us going for another hour to complete where we were?
Mhm.
Want us to do that? You have time?
Yeah, we good. We good. We good.
Okay.
I don't know. People calling right now. They're calling.
Oh yeah, people will come. The show went off. The show went off, and that was not. Let's see here. Oh, let's see here. We um,
That's a temper technology.
yeah, in the middle of something, the thing just started acting up.
Yeah.
Technology. That's what happened. Let's see here. Actually, that was. It was the conversation was going really really good, and that's the thing about it.
I have to tell someone that I'll call them later. Otherwise, they keep calling you.
Yeah, that's
Wasting
fine.
my
That's fine.
time.
You can do that. Nobody hearing you right now. You can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. Let's see here. For some reason, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay. 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 Hmm. All right. We got it back.
All right, good.
So we're gonna have to go back live because people are very 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 eager to to follow the show. So the more got you know, Jamai.
Yeah.
People enjoying it.
Mm.
We're getting a lot of feedback, for it. Good feedback.
Mm.
People like it. All right, let's see here.
Some people can't read. Even when I'm telling them I'll call you later, they still keep calling.
Oh yeah.
Like,
People-
text you call me, I text you, I'll call you later. You call in again, text you again.
because
Second
because the
time.
person is not they're not reading the test.
Yeah.
Okay. Kalau mau kutanya lu.
Yeah.
We just went off like that. Technology emola mana lu la.
No. Na internet for me. No man, I'm out of it.
Kai, imagine if I got what your money you just went by.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Nema fun na kan fun. Na tierra. Na notice que la we wuli na mina ngo no this is not.
mm.
Okay. Yeah, so mo ko sikola, huh?
Mm.
I want to spend like 5 minutes to play music so that we can build the audience back. Move ko sikola.
Okay.
So before you come out, now, because we don't just want you to waste your
Yeah.
breath, Que come out la mu la me.
Mm.
So we got the music play kala
Mm.
just for temporarily so the move